Hello everyone, and welcome to today's live stream where I know it's been a while. I know I skipped the 5.1 overview and all of that. I have been extremely busy, but I've had a little bit of time and I want to go around and play with the sample sound branch node branch, which I believe Jax has been working on. And this is still work in progress. I'm not sure if it's going to be in Blender 5.2 or not, but I want to test it and see what it is capable of, because it is like a spectrogram. There will be audio that will be repeating a lot this live stream, so I hope that doesn't become too annoying. I've lowered the audio significantly just to make it work. But yeah, let's go and test this little spectrogram-ish node out. So with this setup, I have the sound going through there, and then it translates to this disk being displaced and having all that. I'm still not 100% sure about the visualizer. I think looking at it from the top down looks the best, but I still need to test some things. So with this setup, you add in a sound clip to your sequencer timeline here. And then you could go and add it to your setup here, to the actual node, using the new sound socket, which is so early, it doesn't even have a color. Though I think the eventual color will be maybe yellow? Not entirely sure about that. But yeah, let's see. But yeah, it is quite cool. So in the test file that I got, Jax included a little frequency bins node, which I've modified. Oh wait, this is the wrong object I've selected. I've modified it a little bit just to make the bin offset a float rather than an index, which we will get into all that. I should also mention that I am not too experienced with manipulating sound in this context, so a lot of the stuff that I say may be straight up incorrect. But yes, this is the sound node. It has the sound input right here. You have a time input, which I believe can be a field, which is very nice. You could do all channels or just select a channel, which in this case, I believe this is mono audio, so it should not have all of them. You can set the low and high frequency, and then the fast Fourier transform options, which I do not know what these things do. Let's see, the number of samples to process the discrete Fourier transform at once. Higher values have better frequency, but worse time resolution, and vice versa. Then different Windows functions, which is, let's see, applies a tapering function to the windowed samples to minimize discontinuities at the edges, improving frequency resolution and reducing artifacts. And there are several options for that right there. I should look at the code for this because it seems very interesting, but we can go and test a lot of, oh no, that lags. That lags a lot. How come the higher ones are, intriguing. But yes, we can see the frequency range here is 20 Hz to 10,000, which let's just take a look at the raw-ish data from the output. So let me go and turn off the well, now we can leave the displacement on because it doesn't mean anything here. But if we look in the shader nodes and take a look at this, because it's all, fast Fourier transform based, the nodes that are on the low end are, right there, and the parts that are higher have a higher frequency, and I'm just offsetting the time so that it looks correct. So let's take a look at this. Let me extend the time, which I have this value right here, so we can take a look at the entire thing. Let me just up the resolution as well. Which resolution do I need to manage? I should probably make this a little bit better. This might start to lag. Oh no, it's not lagging. But yes, we can see all the individual notes to this little sound piece that I made. And yeah, it looks cool. Let's go back over to here. And look at that. Yep, just the raw sound data. Or not raw, you know what I mean. Let's see, and all that looks very interesting. So I want to try a few things. I want to try importing dialogue audio and seeing if I can make a pseudo lip sync effect using it, though I highly doubt that'll be successful. Because professionals who have worked on like games and stuff have tried making that, and they are paid a lot more than me to try it, which is more than, $0, and their results are okay. I highly doubt I can make it good. But my idea for that is that I would record like different phonemes of myself talking and store those as maybe, I don't know, either a CSV or just points with all this. Oh yeah, I forgot to showcase this. So this is a little sub. This is just the data separated into the parts without it being, you know, having a time axis. And then I have a point which samples or averages, has a weighted average, as we can see here, for the amplitude of it. So I just do that to get a weighted average, and then I set a point to be there. That would be like, you know, how closed or open the mouth is, or like, I don't know. It's an interesting concept. But yeah, the different phonemes, and then I would take the difference between the phonemes and the current sound, and that would form the face shape. So if I go ah, e, oo, and then it would just compare the difference between those three as the dialogue is progressing, and then conform to that face shape with that, using just sliders, and then maybe have vertex groups be driven by that. So that is a way that could possibly be done, but that would take a lot more effort in order to figure out. But it should be possible, even without like machine learning and all that good stuff. Let's see. Hey, I was hoping you would live stream a test of this node today. Yes. Let me actually go and start this from scratch so that we can see a little thing, because I've been yapping for 6 minutes so far. Okay, not the worst. Well, let's go and get the sample sound node right here. Sample sound. Let's go and get this. And here I'm going to select the PS Wave 001, because that is why I named it. So we have the time here, which we should have as the scene time seconds, so that it matches up with our dialogue right here, or not dialogue, with this right here, even though I think this should be at 0. At 0 or 1? No. It's a 1 frame difference, so it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But then if we go, let's see, we have the low and the high things right here. So if we just take a look at this, we can see just whatever frequency we're dealing with. And then let's see. Oh, right, because the bins and all that. So with this setup right here, Jack's included, I forget if Jack's made this file, but there is the frequency bins, which basically separates the low and high into different segments, I believe. Yeah, that's what it appears to be right there. So with the default node right here, it's just getting all of the bins. So if I were to get a UV map, and also let me go and subdivide this grid. It has a pre-existing UV map, and I don't want to create my own, so I'm just going to do this. Let's go and just have this like permanently on. Let's also go and pin this. Let's go and get the UV map, and then UV map named attribute. I keep forgetting. If you can't tell, it's been a while since I've done some of my own projects. I've been too, what's the word? Too busy doing capitalism, shall we say. Any of that. So if I were to make my own bin setup, I think it would have to be, like, it would be a multiply and then a fraction. And then I would map range this fraction into 2 parts. Map range. So it'd be like here and here. So, yeah, it would be 0 and 1, and then, no, would it be that? Or would it be more like a snap? I want to try doing this on my own rather than trying to do the other thing. So let's go and get a value node. So right now I'm just separating the bins, and this should, in theory, work, but no, that should be there. So that one goes there and there. That one goes there and there. This one should be 10,000, which is a very high value. Oh, wait, did that actually work? It looks like it might have. Or no, no, it did not. No, it did not. It did not whatsoever. So yeah, I think we need to use a floor and then a fraction. Or then a fraction. So a mix between the floor and the ceiling. Though, I do not know what I'm doing, but I will test it. I will try it out. And then for that, I just need the inverse between that. So here, let's see, we just need to flip these two around and then plug that into there. So here we have that. So it should mix between the 2. But then I still need to multiply and then divide by a bit and then re-multiply it afterwards? I don't know. X, if you are watching this, I apologize for completely butchering this setup that you already had in the file. But I insist on trying to make things myself just to experiment, you know? So maybe... yeah, no, that's not, we need to, like, heavily multiply this to be like, I don't know. Let's try just 10,000, and then we can do the divide by, like, 100. Almost. It seems to be like the different bins and all that. And then the other axis, or like the time, can be offset by the other part of the UV map. So right here, this is where things get nice and interesting. We offset this by the time, we can multiply this by 3. And we can see, oh, a little bit of lag right there. Yeah, okay. It seems to be working now. It seems to not be 100% accurate, which I kind of expected. Maybe this is why this was a map range instead, so that I didn't have to do all this weird stuff. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's working. Let me try this with the actual node group. Let's go and unpin that. We just go and yoink this from over here. Plug this into there. So instead of that, we just have the low and high bins right there. Oh, and there's also an exponent, yeah. Yep, forgot about that part too. Ah, right, and then I just yoink this out of there, make that the y-axis. Okay. Okay, so that looks a bit better than mine, yeah. Yeah, it does. Oh, yeah, what is the difference between the two? I should just have a switch node to switch between the two. That would be the smart thing to do. Anyway, that is like that, and it seems to be... is that because this is set to the power of 2? No. That, we have that, set that to be the power of 2. Kaboom? Yes, kaboom. So that's like that, though I think, no, this should be set to the power of 2. Yeah, I know how to do... no, this is probably incorrect. I should just use the pre-existing node group. Let's see, what actually happens in here? Okay. So we have the current index, which is just the current sample position. And then you add a bit to the bin offset, set both of them to the power of 2, and then you... oh yeah, no, that's actually a lot simpler. Yeah, no, that's a lot simpler than whatever kerfluffle I have right here. We have this right here, we have that and that. We simply have this. So we have that and that. We offset this by a little bit just so that we can get the, you know, the bin size. Everything right there. And then we do a map range, yep, between the high and the lows. So we just go and yoink this here and here. And then I assume that these are flip-flopped. They're not? Huh. How about that? Just have that and that. So this will be our low and this will be our high. This will be like 10,000. Oh, I should have gotten a test frequency that goes through like all the possible frequencies there are. Let me go and turn on and turn on. There we go. That seems to be good, except these... huh? Wait. Exponent power, bin offset, and then, yeah, no, the node setup seems to be perfect. Oh, right, because that is set to 20. So this should... oh, the viewer disables when you do that. I forgot. We have that, and that. Let's go and just make sure we can switch between the two to make sure that they are almost 1-to-1. Yep, so that and that. Okay. The only difference is the bin offset, yep. So if we do the bin offset, we can see that it accumulates into, honestly, a very interesting look right here. And then, oh, if it's set to negative, oh, that's probably a really bad idea. We can see that, again, we can just harvest those frequencies or really extend it so that it extends. It could be used, I guess this is just like a fast Fourier transform thing, which a friend of mine has really been wanting fast forward, like generic fast Fourier transform stuff in Blender. Maybe a fast Fourier transform node would be nice. Which, if I were to go and take a look at that, maybe I could go and just yoink this and make it so that it doesn't need this right here. Or maybe this could already, no, it would need the actual sound part in there. But yeah, if I could harvest that, I could probably separate that into its own node, and then the data manipulation would be quite interesting. And that could be maybe used in all the other editors. But that's just me thinking without any grasp on reality whatsoever. So now I'm going to go and switch this out for new dialogue, which will be me speaking. This will be probably not fun whatsoever to listen to because you'll hear double my voice, but I can make it very nice and quiet in the background. Put this over to here, mute this one, and swap you. I'm just gonna use the pre-existing node group for convenience because it's nice and small. Control X. Wow, weird. You spend just a little bit of time outside of Blender, and then it feels like a whole foreign program again with all the keys that are going around. So yeah, I got the test dialogue in there. Let's go and get the test dialogue in here. Let me go and turn the audio way down to 0.1 so that it doesn't overpower the original me. So here we go. No, I'm turning that all the way down. That's going to be quite annoying to. Okay, so let's go and make this a bit bigger so that I can see all that. Oh, that is very low. And we can see with that the frequencies of my voice, but we need a lot more resolution to actually see. Ah, there it is. There's my beautiful voice. Right there. Let's go and multiply this by quite a bit because apparently I recorded it very quietly. There we go. So let's go and turn that up a lot. Yeah, no, look at that. Go and rotate this so that we can actually just see that. So here, that's the, yeah, over there is like the actual line where things are, so we can see that going through. And look at all the frequencies right there. That's why that I like the fast Fourier transforms. So let's do a combine color and make this hue, saturation, and value because that's the best form of color combinations that exist. And we can see, maybe I should go and 1 minus that, or maybe just use map range node. That would probably be, yeah, let me go and do that. Map range, let's go and just take this out of there, put this over into there and all that. So here we can see, come on, something like that. And then I could just go and map the hue differently. Because that looks a bit ugly. Ah, there we go. That looks a lot more like other spectrogram programs. Yeah. And here we can see it is lagging because this is a very dense mesh. You forget just how dense regular images are. Right there once again. Let's set the bin offset to be 0.02. Yeah. Okay, 0.01. There we go. So we have all of that. Very interesting. Let me go and actually remove the time. Then just have this in here so that it doesn't need to update every single frame. Just so that I can analyze all of this. Actually, no, let's use a map range again. Let's go and put this over to here. Let's see, put that over there. Oh wait, did Jax see the Sebastian Log video about spectrograms and stuff? Is that what inspired this? Potentially. There we go. So we have all of that. So in the beginning here, this is actually reversed. So let me go and reverse this part right here. There we go. So I say this is a test. So this is a test. Then, yeah. So I believe this, yeah. Quite interesting. the patterns, it's so cool. And then a lot of noise right here, which I'm not sure what's up with that. So will there be a creepy face in that spectrogram? No. Unfortunately, I don't know of any programs to write spectrograms, only to read them. There's some nice open source software for that I've used. There's even what's the phone app? Spectroid for phones. That one is quite nice because you could just go around while you're like on a train or something and just see all the frequencies that are going around. Will this node be in 5.2 or is it an experimental branch? This is an experimental branch. The node seems, well, I don't know how feature complete it is, but it looks pretty feature complete to me. But it's all a matter of like how, I don't know. I don't know if it'll be in 5.2, but hopefully. It would be very nice to abandon the old F-curve system because that one was not very procedural, if I'm being honest. So then again, this node, you would need, actually no, it wouldn't be too bad. You could just use the geometry attribute constraint to go and transfer this data to whatever animation you're running, which is why I'm so happy that constraints made it, because that one is so useful for so many situations. Just for communicating with geometry nodes to everything else. Actually, let me check that. I need to check. I need to get that branch up so that I can see what's going on there. Because I actually haven't looked into that. I just downloaded it a few days ago and called it a day. If we do that, yeah. If we set this just to be that, we can see these in a linear space. Then if we set this to be like 0, yeah. I believe, yeah, if it's set to the power of 2, oh, actually, yeah, if we set that to be 0 hertz, not too much changes. But this is it in a linear space. Yeah, that is fascinating. Everything's compressed, which is why people usually have it in this space. Let me go and switch out this for this one right here. We can see, oh, that is beautiful. We can see the bass tones and the overtones and all that good tone stuff. Right there, and then there's also the amplitude, which if I do that, yeah, no, that's fine. Then I could check the different, oh, that is amazing. Look at all of that. That looks so good. So good. Let me check, where is the branch for the things? Let me go and turn on the background music while everything else is going on. I thought I would be playing it more, but apparently not. It's just too distracting. Let's see. Someone's mentioning discrete wavelet transform or other things, but that is interesting. So looking at, oh wait, I should get this PR. Yeah, let's go and actually look at the PR real quick. Go and switch to the browser view so that you all can see this. OBS. Yeah. I get that you have a new AI feature and I do not want it. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So let's see the new sample sound node. This node, and also let me go and copy this and put in the chat because you'll will want that. I'm pretty sure. Here's the PR. Okay. This adds a new node which allows getting frequency information from sound directly inside of geometry nodes, making to F curves unnecessary, unless you want it specifically in the graph editor and all that, I assume. This is a new implementation, but it's significantly inspired by an old PR, which also built on top of some changes that landed during the Google Summer of Code project, like prop frequency. This also exposes the new sound socket types. Note that just by loading the sound into geometry nodes, it is not played back. It needs to be added to the sequencer too, as we saw. This node is fairly bare bones, just for sampling single values over time. It's easy enough, but for doing spectrum animations, some node groups should be provided in the future, as we saw before. As we can see here, let me just go and turn this all the way down, just in case. But yeah. Just seeing all the frequencies dance around. It is so cool. And then stuff like that for getting the spectrogram all laid out. It is quite cool. No, I highly recommend turning on sync to audio. Oh yeah, that could be very good. Yeah, and we can see that Jax did this basically all in a day, which I was like, oh dang, that was very fast. And then there's some stuff about yeah, finding new colors is always hard. I agree. Yep, that is quite hard. Let's see, merge branch main into fix after merge. Oh, fix after merge. I'm actually interested in seeing what needs to be fixed. Oh. Yes, U-string. I ran into that while updating some of my PRs, and I was like, where the heck did all that go? What happened there? And then it's like, oh dang, you need to add U-string for everything now. But yeah, cool stuff there. Very, very cool stuff there. Let's see, a lot of improved cleanup. Yeah, I get that. What is U-string? I don't know. I just know that we need it now. I'm assuming some refactoring happened behind the scenes when it came to handling strings in Blender, so now we need to add U-string to a lot of the inputs and all of that. And now you're going to apply a glitch kind of effects for that, like pixel sort or random shifts. Unfortunately, I don't know how to do that in GeoNodes, so probably not at this time. Yeah, it is quite cool. I quite like just seeing the spectrogram in, you know, this format where it's just, oh, you get the hue and then you offset this like that. And then I apply, you know, the other cool stuff. But look at that. I wonder why spectrograms don't just show the values in their like linear view space format, because like this, doesn't that like make the data a little less readable? Because most spectrograms do use this, maybe because it just looks better. But does it, like the sRGB conversion, doesn't that make it a little bit less accurate or all that? I don't know, I'm just talking on the fly right here. But yeah, that's looking very good. Also, another PR that landed into main was the cycles texture binning, or not binning, but what? Let me check the commit. Cycles texture. We should. Oh, can't spell texture right for the life of me. Let's see. Where? Cycles, different stuff there. Man, a lot of... There's one into there. Where's the main PR? Wait, 1 second, everyone, while I go and find that PR, because we need to take a look at that. But let's just look at the amazing spectrogram. Oh, wait. There was like a test frequency that I made to turn images into sound, and then I could turn sound into images. I forgot about that. Do I still have that thing? Wait, sorry everyone, I need to be right back because I need to go and look through my computer to see if I still have some cool stuff in here. Let's see, what is this? Mystery? No, not that one. Ambience? Nope. Not that. Where is that spectrogram stuff? Sound? Spectrogram sounds. No, that is one of test things. Oh, there's a sweep. Oh, dang. Okay. Turns out I have a ton of test audio things because of MIDI things. Nope. Oh, wait. I got a lot of... Wait, can Blender read MIDI? I don't think it can. Wait, I need to get a few little things. Please wait while I go and find some cool sounds to take a look at. Where did I put that? Where did I put the sounds that I converted from images? Or maybe I just deleted it. It's not like me to delete that kind of stuff. I don't play around with that all too often, but maybe I think I did, dang. Okay, let me go and get that other PR because we need to take a look at that. Hold on, everyone, while we go and take a look. Where thingy? Ah, there we go. Cycles texture caching, yes. Sure, I copy over that. Let's go and put it into the old browser. Buddy, okay. Hey, why is my computer acting so slow right now? Okay, Firefox, I get it. I don't need tons of notifications. And yes, I'm human. Okay. Let's see. So, texture caching in cycles. People have wanted that for a very long time. Okay, on scenes with many textures, the texture cache significantly reduces memory usage and startup time. This comes at the cost of a small rendering performance impact and increased disk space usage. To get started, enable performance texture cache and auto-generate text render properties. For every image, the corresponding texture file will be generated in the Blender text folder next to the image file. This texture file is optimized for loading just the tiles and resolutions needed for rendering. It is automatically updated when the image file is modified. Performance, memory savings, and performance are highly scene dependent depending on how much image texture memory was used compared to geometry. The following numbers are from the benchmark scenes that use many images. We can see that there is quite a reduction in memory usage. Performance goes up by just a little bit. And that is looking incredible. So here, let's see the junk shop, that gets reduced by a little bit, but in other scenes it gets reduced by a ton. So that is amazing. And also, I did not know that it was that heavy. Larger resolution renders consume more memory, and optimization for this is under development. Then, generating all that and simplifying it. Let's take a look at the actual PR. Implements main. Okay, let's go through the. Did I? Oh, I did. Let's go through the rabbit hole right here. Texture caches and mip maps. See, that, generate that. Options, generate the render option, yep. Save file with a different name, yep. Nodes and all that, math mix. Oh. Intriguing. Texture loading and lookups. Cool. Very cool. I highly doubt this will be, it would need a completely different implementation for Eevee, but then again, if you're an Eevee, your scenes will be light with all the textures and all that. Let's see, or maybe, actually wait, does Eevee already have mip-maps? I don't know. Oh, that is interesting. Let me also go and put this into the chat so that you all can take a look at it for yourselves. Let's see. Do you think there's a chance for real-time audio processing at any point? I highly doubt it. Blender is very much not an audio program, though. Actually, wait a minute. It just reminded me that Blender does have... toggle window full screen and all that. Blender does have audio modifiers now, so there is a little bit of processing. There's a sound equalizer, pitch, and echo. So all that happens. This will not affect the stuff that's there because it's not the root data, but there is a little bit of audio processing in Blender now. And you can export audio from Blender, just the raw audio, even though I think that is very primitive at this time. Yeah, there's render audio, and I forget what the actual settings for that are, but that's been in Blender for ages. So it's possible, but again, very primitive at this time. Actually, I'm actually not sure because I haven't looked into it all too much. But yes, we have all that. So yeah, a nice little project. We're at 34 minutes, even though it's felt like an hour. I am quite tired because I went to New York and I got back at 3 a.m. So fun. So incredibly fun. So incredibly fun. Though it was a grand time. Just my commute to New York is fairly long, and I usually don't stay the night over there. Let's see. Any update on shader nodes getting GeoNode image nodes? Oh, are you talking about the like porting the image texture node from there with like the texture socket input? A lot of people have been asking me about this because it would be just amazing to have, but the design for it is what's keeping it from being ported. Jax made a branch where this node was ported into the shader editor, and I think it did work. I believe I tested it once, because this is what's holding back like a ton of shader node assets. Like, so many are just not possible. Well, semi not possible. Like, closures make it so that it's a workaround where it's possible, but it's just the design. So I think it's just a matter of time, because I think a lot of stuff is being worked on right now. It would be very nice to get it in for 5.2 because it is the LTS release. So comparing this to the regular image texture node, they're similar. They are quite similar, but it has different projection modes, which, you know, I think maybe some of these are some of these are, what was I gonna say? Some of these are like position dependent, so you might need two options for like the vector and the position, while this one, it just kind of just gets it from under the hood. You know, all those. And then there's also, I forget how this handles UDIMs, but this one does not handle UDIMs, I'm pretty sure. And then when you actually have an image, it's like, oh, what is there? Ah, yes, you have all of these options. Which also, the frame input here, it would be so nice to have this in, this version as well. I think we should keep the old image node, at least as a legacy option for a while, because I don't think there's a way to, like, properly version all the things in this to there, just because it is so old. But, yeah, and then all the units right here, like, look at all this, so many new, look at all this. We got so many new inputs. It'll probably make the one, the one add-on that does all this obsolete. Look at all of that, yeah. So many options. But hey, making Blender, you know, industry standard. And also the non-color thing is right, like, I love that. Just having all the things right here, and then just, yeah, it's grand. Actually, yeah. Display in sRGB. So that's right there as well. It's always cool to see some updates, but yeah, this one just needs a little rework. Image sequences, I don't think this one deals with image sequences yet. Not sure about that one. Generated, and then UDIM tiles. So, yep. Hope they add the index switch to shader nodes too. Oh, that's not in. Wait, does the shader editor have integers yet? It does. Okay. So it. I forget. I need to ask around, because if I had a Christmas list for 5.2, it would be the scene time node in the shader editor, because the attribute versions for getting that just have some dependency issues with cycles. The dependency graph is the thing I absolutely despise, because it's just so, my brain does not understand it. But if we could get the scene time node and the texture socket inputs to the shader editor, I would be over the moon. That would be so great, just throwing the shader editor into the current era. Then if we wanted to move it into the future, you know, the transform, the vector transform node would have matrix inputs. All that. Oh, this node, I don't think anyone really complains about this node. This node is good. I like this node. Having the world transform, the object in the camera matrices, having those in the shader editor, just having the matrix inputs would be nice. So I forget which, was it Octane? I forget if Octane was the one that, has those already. At least the add-on for, or was that V-Ray? I forget. But yes. They also added the index switch. Oh, they did add it. Oh, wait. Index switch? Maybe I'm on the wrong branch. Index switch. Let me check the compositor. Index switch? Okay, so they have it in the compositor, but maybe not the shader editor just yet. The shader editor is an interesting situation because it is weird to say. Yeah, this branch is also a few days old, so it might have gotten merged later on. It is interesting that the shader editor is the most behind in the grand scheme of these now, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, the compositor now has the matrix nodes, which, if I had to guess, I was like, wait, why did they port the matrix nodes to the compositor? There are many good reasons why, but I was like, wait, what? So it's interesting that the compositor has all the utility nodes, including the scene time node, but the shader editor, I'm assuming due to like constants and all that. I forget the actual reason, but that's why it is fairly behind between all that. It just needs like a dedicated developer and all that, but it is being updated, don't get me wrong. It's just taking a bit more time. What was I gonna look for? Oh, right, the image. This one right here. Maybe this one could use the texture socket inputs as well. Yeah, this one could use an update too. You don't know how hard it is to update things in shaders due to cycles. Yeah, no, I've tried. I have tried doing stuff in cycles and all that, adding in new nodes, and it is painful. It is painful. I do not envy the developer who has to work on it, but I thank them greatly whenever those do come along. Like the Ray Portal node, that one, I'm so happy that one got in, because I've used that for so many things. And the Raycast node, let's not forget that. Is there, oh right, the Raycast node might be getting some new stuff in 5.2. Like a 2D mode, which makes it just more efficient and a bit easier to use for screen space effects. That could be cool. And then like the Ray Portal. I can't do that because we're in EV. But yes. But yeah, the shader editor is probably the most complex out of the bunch, which is why it's harder to get things into there. Yeah. Actually, what? Let's see. So there's transpose. Wow, all the matrix nodes got ported. That is incredible. But yeah, the transform point node, I assume that would be like the vector transform node in the shader editor. And then I believe also the object, is it the object info node? Or was it the camera info? The camera info node. Like all these nodes, I never thought when I was working on the camera info node that would ever be ported to the compositor, but here we are. Active camera is also, like this is weird. I did not expect this to work. I never expected that those parts to actually get merged. But here we are. What would you do with matrix nodes in the compositor? I would assume, like, there's the combine okay, there's no combine transform node. That is an interesting one. Could be possible. Wait, are there rotation? Okay. It's probably because of the rotation socket, which maybe they're working on that. I don't know. But, it would be you could either, I forget if view transforms could work with a 4x4 matrix. But for people who are really technical, this is very useful for projecting things onto other things. Yeah, no, I know how that works. But yeah. a lot of this, like, again, with the transform, no, shader editor, transform vector node. And please, I apologize if some of the information I'm spewing is incorrect. It's been a while. But right here, with this, projecting a vector from the world to the object and all that, most of that could be made into a node group using these nodes, I assume. Though I think the object info node, yeah, we can't get the matrix of an object right now, which is interesting. I think it's because of the geometry input. They would have to make it so that that was not accessible. So that's an interesting one. Saw a PR that the rotation socket in the compositor is planned. Yeah, I would assume. I would assume. Because if they added in the matrix socket, I find that really, really funny that that one got implemented. But it is very, very appreciated. So, yep. Yep. Okay. I think, yeah, I should wrap up the stream now. We've gone over, I think, everything I wanted to. I know it's a simpler, you know, shorter one this time around. With the, talking, with the yapping, with, lip syncing with this node. Again, I think it's possible. It just relies on my skill to figure out how to get, like, the comparisons between different, phonemes, and then mapping that to values. So that would be very, very interesting. I don't think I have time to fully try to flesh that out, but imagine this. I just have a ton of just float values right here, or a ton of points that have float values mapped to them for, like, okay, how much are they doing a, like, a-e-oo sound and all of that. So it would map to those values, and then with those values, I can drive drivers or, like, shape keys based off of those points. So it should be possible. Again, it's just getting data, manipulating it, and then setting it. That's some geometry nodes' whole deal. It is quite cool to see. Actually, is there, in GeoNodes, is there a sound input? There's not a constant for that yet. So it appears there's no sound constant, but I assume if I were to make a group, yeah, okay, that we can node group that. Good to know. I wish the sound modifiers were animatable. Oh wait, they're not? Oh, they're not. Huh. There's probably a technical reason for that. Interesting. Oh, nice equalizer. Was that there before? But yeah, unfortunately those ones, yeah, there's probably a very good technical reasons for that. Animation nodes had such a node. Good to see that coming to geometry nodes. Yeah, it's good to see that GeoNodes is getting a lot of that kind of stuff. Let's see, there's going to be so many input sockets and colors. I saw like a little discussion about that. I think for the essentials, it's good to have different colors, but for stuff that's just like, oh, generic data, just having like the font. Does font need a unique color? No, it doesn't. And I assume that the sound could like share colors with all those, like kind of, you know, data blocks that aren't like really specific. I hope Bevel V2 makes it to 5.2. We'll see. What about rigid biodynamics for geometry nodes in 5.2? Don't expect that. I believe for 5.2, the barrier for new libraries has closed. So I think it cannot be in 5.2. I don't think it can. But if we get lists in 5.2, which, oh, I've been thinking about, if we make a group, list inputs in node groups and modifiers. I was imagining, bear with me for a second. You know how we have the extension sockets and all that? Or like the, what was it, the index, the index switch. Having this input where we could add and subtract things. Oh yeah, there should be a subtract part in here as well. Having basically this, but for list inputs. Unity has something like that as well, where if you have a list, you can just add and subtract items on the fly. So something like that, but not with the index input, of course. Can I actually hide that? Actually, yeah, basically that. So add, maybe not with a, having that add item right there, I think is good as well. You can just add and subtract that right there. Yeah. Basically having that in here. That would, I know that would be weird because it's creating new data. Then again, the same thing happens here. Then having that node group so that you can like, oh, if I want to add in multiple objects to like a scatterer, that would be very useful to have here. If you don't want it to be like just in a collection and all of that. And also you would be able to add in new closures, new closure inputs to all that. But then again, having all those as socket inputs, that, yeah, no, that is far beyond me to try to implement. But it would be cool, you know? Would be cool. Yeah, maybe there's so many things on my plate right now, I don't think I can try to implement something like that. But again, would be cool for functionality. But anyway. I need my nth nearest. When lists come around, I believe, like when they're outside of experimental, mod, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the index of nearest node would be a bit easy. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to make it so that this could have a list output. Could be wrong about that. I think I remember something along those lines. All right. It is weird that I keep going to, oh, what's new in Blender before I even did the 5.1 review. I'm sorry, everyone. I've just been, again, very busy. Yeah, there we go. All right, I think that'll be it for today. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed looking over the sound PR and all that, and looking into Blender's future once again. It's looking very bright. It is looking very bright. I am very happy with all that. The LTS releases going from 4.2 to 5.2, it'll be quite the jump, shall we say. Quite the jump. Let's see. Let me check if there are any other questions. Let's see. Thank you for all of your lives and implementations for development. Yeah. Yep. When I can do live streams, I like doing them as kind of just a news report. I know there is Blender Today, which goes much more in depth for all the PRs, but I like to focus on just the GeoNode side because that is what pays the bills for me. That is my work. That is my work quite a bit of the time. So yep. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.